Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. 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 We get one more. Yeah. Good boy. All right. Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Yes.
Welcome everybody across the whole wide world. I have a special guest this afternoon, Adam Burke with Kobus KahnK9. The list goes on. He's a martial artist, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai Q, real estate investor. The list goes on. So we're gonna get into it. So I'm just so lucky to do this. Jaguar, let me get my dog out of the way for a second. You know how they like kids, they want to come in when you do it. Jaguar, go place, buddy. Good boy. Yeah, so let's just get right into it, man. What got you into dog? Like, how did you learn? And before you go, I wanted to thank you because when I had my American Amstaff, I was like, I need a protection dog. I just couldn't do it. So I used to watch your videos with Nyla. I was like, this was like 2000, because she's almost 3 years old, right?
She turned 3 years old 2 days ago.
Yeah, so I used to watch your videos from the beginning. So you never know out there with any little small videos do how you inspire people. So salute to you.
Nice. Appreciate that. Yeah, you know, I've been in the dogs almost all my life. Back in the 80s, man, I had my first working dog when I was just a boy. I was just a little boy. I had a Philly Brasileiro times cur. It was a blend Philly Brasileiro cur dog, and that was my first real working dog. You catch hog, you do everything. And I grew up in a pretty tough neighborhood, right? A lot of drug dealers, prostitutes, stuff like that around. And when that dog was about 2.5 years old, my younger brother was on the streets, and one of the dealers on the streets was trying to get him to start dealing as well. Well, you know, he didn't want to do it. That dealer wanted to slap him around a little bit, and that dog took a bite out of that guy, right? So that was my first experience, and I wasn't there, but that was my first experience really owning the dog that was capable of being able to do that. Now, we caught several hogs, dispatch game and stuff like that, but that dog really just opened my eyes to like, hey, listen, you don't want to get your bike stolen every day? Bring that dog along, right? And so that was kind of the neighborhood I grew up in, right? And it was just a tough neighborhood. And, you know, it's just the way life was. But so that was really the first one. Didn't know what I was doing, just happened to stumble upon a great dog. After that, man, I really wanted to get back into it. And so I've kept, you know, everything from Bulldogs to Great Danes to Shepherds and stuff like that over the years. But when it got real serious was in 2015, after I got deployed from the military in Iraq and stuff like that. Got in the real estate business and noticed I started going on some of my vacant properties, and people were, you know, squatters were busted in. You know, always this is stand your ground. We're in Florida, right? You bring your gun in, but it's funny because, you know, a lot of times they're like, F you, we ain't leaving, even with your gun. But I bring that dog in. Now let me bring that dog in. Boom, 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 right? You hear back windows breaking, people coming out of that thing. So they know you're going to let that dog loose because you want to get that bite. That was really my first experience dealing with that. So I got my first like Malinois back in 2015. And that was when I first really didn't know what I was doing. You know, I got a French line. He was about 60 pounds, you know, and then, you know, he would run most people out until one day I got this big Debo dude. I realized not everybody's afraid of your dog. Not everybody's afraid of your dog. And that dude came and dog looked at me. I looked at dog. I said, well, do your thing. Dog was like, no, I ain't doing it. Dude walked right out the house. I'm like, all right, we're going to have to change strategies now. Things about to change. So that's really what kind of kicked it off. And then from there, I realized for me, your average little Mal, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I've owned a lot of them, but there's not enough of them. They don't have enough ass in them, you know, to handle a situation with a stronger opponent, stuff like that. And that's what made me start getting, if I'm going to have a Mal, it's going to be like Kobe. It's going to be a big, hard, strong Mal that can take a beating. So that's what kind of led me down the path of getting bigger, harder, stronger dogs.
So let me ask you, because I love to learn new things. Like for the people that's going to be listening to this, what's like the standard of is this I don't understand it. I think it's KNPV lines.
Yes.
Can you break that down a little bit as far as the Belgian Malinois?
Yeah, so KNPV lines, so KNPV is a sport, and you know, the Dutch guys and stuff, they use that to kind of test dogs for street purposes to see, you know, if they're capable of working the streets and police work and stuff. But it's a sport like any other sport. It has a higher threshold, higher standard of dogs. But the dogs they're producing in the KNPV generally, and not always, now there's always outliers to this, but generally those dogs are coming from like Duco-2 lines. They're bigger, thicker, heavier dogs, thicker skulls, thicker bones and stuff. And these dogs hit hard and they're tough and you can beat them, and their thresholds are high like a bulldog. And that's why I got out of like more of like the French lines and even some of the NBPK that I wasn't a real big fan of. But I kind of went down the KNPV lines, specifically the Duco-2 lines, because they were a big heavier bone dog, and I knew they could handle situations a lot better. And that's where I kind of, so I imported Kobus from Risa's home out of Holland. So, and that's kind of how I got the journey started with the KNPV. Yes.
Okay. So how old is he?
He's 7 years old.
Oh yeah. Oh, he looked good. I thought he was younger than that.
Yeah, he's 7-year-old dog. He moves like he's 2 years old. He's really a really healthy dog. He's 95 pounds. I mean, fit. That's a big dog. I mean, I'm talking about a chiseled 95 pounds. He's a big heavy hitter, but he's a handful of a dog. Not, I would say probably 99.9% of people can't handle a dog like that. Even guys who own band dogs couldn't handle him because he's on another level than your average band dog. He's just, you would think a big, strong band dog that's just got on crack cocaine. He's going. But,
his drives is crazy? Like,
his drives are insane. Yeah, insane drives, insane bites, his ball drive, everything about him, from his balls to ball drives to prey to everything, is just through the roof on everything. The interesting thing about a Malinois versus, say, maybe a band dog or some bulldogs is they're handler hard, what we call handler hard. So not handler aggressive, but handler hard is, you can basically, like, so if I take Nala or some of the other band dogs I've gotten off of Lee Robbins, stuff like that, you couldn't necessarily just jerk that dog too hard, it'll shut down, right? They may be super hard on a hog or super hard on an opponent, but for their handlers, they tend to be like, oh, my bad, and they'll kind of, withdraw a little bit. A Malinois, that guy, man, shoot, you could punch him in the head and he's still smiling at you. Like, literally, that's handler hard, right? You yank on him and he's like, oh, my bad. Okay, let's get back to work. They just have this resilience about them that they just keep coming back ready to work. They won't shut down. They're gonna find a way to do the job. They may not understand you, but they're gonna find a way to do the job. So if you're like, hey, I need you to jump off that cliff, he's like, oh, I'm gonna jump off that cliff. He's not gonna think about it too much. So
now, no, so go ahead.
Go ahead.
So is he dog? How is he? Besides when he's just around the crib, is he dog aggressive? Is he cat aggressive? Like, is he animal aggressive? How is his personality?
He's not a dominant dog whatsoever, and he's submissive to other dogs. I mean, he'll lay down with. I mean, he's an interesting dog, right? So a lot of police K9 guys, they all claim that when you see a breeder selling like a lot of Dutch police lines, the first thing they say, oh, very dominant dog, very dominant dog. Well, man, I think this has led people to believe that you have to have a super dominant dog to have a super hard dog. And I think Kobus is the proof that you don't have to have a dominant dog to have a super hard dog. And that's the proof in the pudding, because I've had him up against other police K9s and he's smoked them, every one of them. I've never seen a dog to outdo him. And he'll roll over on his back when the kids come. If there's another dog down, he's friendly as can be. He's trying to make friends with the dog. He's not dog aggressive whatsoever. He's not even trying to rank. He's not a rank driven dog in any kind of way, like a lot of herders are. He's not dominant. I've had dominant mouths before, and usually the dominant mouths, to me, once you break that dominance, they fold. They're done. It's interesting because he works more like a game dog. He acts and works more like a game dog. Hell, he didn't even lift his leg till he's 3.5 years old. I mean, he's just more of an aloof type dog. But when he's on, he's just this dog that just has no pain tolerance, and his thresholds are super high. So he's an interesting combination, but again, not a dominant dog.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. And now we're gonna get into the breeding a little bit because this is super interesting to me. Like I said, I love to learn. Is this his first breeding? Have you bred him? Is this his first?
This is, yes. This is first one.
Oh, okay. So this is his first time. And for those who are going to be listening to this, he's being bred to American Sentinels, Nyla, which I told you at the beginning. I used to watch all the videos. Nyla is from Scratch and Jazz, which Nyla is litter mates with Logan, who was just bred to Venom.
Right, yes.
Logan. I guess she was most, because that was the breed, and some of them be coming out brindle blacks. Yeah, so Logan has looked like a Wolverine, so he looked totally different than Nyla.
Right, right. Yeah, he was, you know, I spent a lot of years talking to Lee, finding the right breeding, because when Kobus was 2 years old, he had his first live bite at 2 years old. And after that live bite, I says, this is the dog I have to breed. After what he went through in that situation, I said, to me, there's no better dog. And I've had a lot of dogs, and I've seen a lot of stuff. And, but I wanted to find the right dog. I didn't want to just breed him back to another Malinois and create just more Malinois. I wanted something that was going to be hard, but also had a good off switch, which he doesn't have. He's always on. But I wanted something that had a better off switch that could chill when we weren't working. And the DaBandog was just one of the ways I was looking at going. And so I probably waited about 5 years. I looked at other bulldogs, talked to other guys and stuff. And after I had her, and I culled a lot of dogs, by the way. I culled a lot of females that I just like, I push them hard too. I push them hard to see what they're made out of. But after she went through everything, you know, if you go and see the videos and we're slamming her through walls and smashing heavy weight bags on her, stuff like that. And she just as calm as can be on the bite. I was like, that's the dog. We finally found the dog.
When I used to see the videos, I was like, she was more intense than I forget what the other dog was. It was a boy. I was like, she was more intense than the other male dog. I was like, wow, she was serious, young, a couple months old.
She came, and I got her at 7 weeks old. I actually got her from Lee pretty early, and I started working with her, a lot of operant conditioning, try to imprinting at an early age, and I conditioned my dogs to a lot of that, just pain tolerance and increasing thresholds from an early age. And yeah, she's super calm with the bite, even under a lot of chaos. First home invasions, second home invasions that we've done with her. Going up there's one where we go up to you know, the baseball announcer box. So she climbs the stairs, she goes in there, she gets the guy, and it's just all kinds of stuff in there. But the one thing I look at her is when she's in tough situations, she's just as calm. It's like the world is not going on around her, and she's just in the moment, but super calm. Full mouth bites. I'm gonna have to pull her off every time. But I really like her. I really like her a lot. And so she brings the bone structure from that line of Scratch, which are beautiful dogs. And you know, that lineage from Scratch to Justice, all the way back, all those are good, hardworking dogs. So it was the right, I felt after all the years, that was the right breeding, the right pair to make right there. They had the right, both of them had brought something to the table. And this breeding that we did just really clicks, man. It's nice.
Now, is she bigger than her dad, right? She bigger than Scratch?
She's 93 pounds, so she's bigger than Scratch and Jazz.
Wow, that's amazing. She's bigger than Logan too. Her brother.
She's bigger. Yep. She was the big girl of the bunch. She was a pig female. I saw her pretty early, working really nice early on, and yeah, she just happened to be the big girl of the bunch, and she turned out to be a pretty good sized dog.
That's like an anomaly, yeah, to be bigger than your dad and your mom. As a female, that's kind of rare. You know what I mean? Yeah. As a female, it happens as a male.
With Kobus being 95, we're throwing big dogs. They're big dogs, but they're athletic dogs, and that's what we noticed early on. Even at 4 weeks old, the stuff we were doing with them, this litter, and I've had other litters, and this litter was doing stuff that I don't see 7, 8 week old litters doing.
I'm looking because you know how the Instagram feed is. Sometimes you get it late; it doesn't come up consistently. So I see videos. I was like 5 weeks. I was like, that usually is like 9 weeks. So they like a whole month ahead. We're doing something right now.
Yeah,
we doing something down
we
there.
Started off. Yeah, we put our hands on probably a lot more than most breeders would with dogs. I mean, from day one, man, we were just 3 days old. It was ENS. The early neurological stimulation, the early sin indication, just handling them a lot, just doing stuff with them. We're with this litter all the time. We're just doing stuff because we want to make the most of it. Because I have this belief, like, you know, bull herders are kind of an off breed, right? And everybody's kind of stuck on mals and GSDs, which is all good. Some guys have your bulldog camp, you have your herder camp, stuff like that. And, you know, I look at those guys at Bull Vision, seeing what they were doing. I was like, man, I think they have something here. Let's see what we can do with it. And after I've done it, I was like, man, there is something to this. When you can blend the two of those together, it was just something really nice about it that clicks. And yeah, they start early. 5 weeks old, they were swinging off the rag. You know, and these aren't little dogs. These aren't like little game bred pit bulls. And you'll often see a little small game bred hanging off a line, like Leo do stuff like that. You don't see the big dogs doing it, but I got these. My male is 6 weeks old. They're 13 pounds. They're big. They look like band dogs, but they have that herder instinct. They'll come with you. They want to work. They're an interesting combination, but man, they're fun.
So for those who's going to listen to, I have Adam Burke here, Kobus KahnK9. He has puppies on the ground, so that's why I'm really interested in this. How many puppies did your American Sentinel and Belgian Malinois? How many puppies did she have?
11. First litter, 11. Wow. Yeah, 7 females and 4 males.
Wow. Now, how many are you keeping, and how many do you have to the public?
That's the question, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It's hard for me to move any of them. I've been waiting. You know, I didn't put them up. I didn't put them up for sale until just recently. They're 6 weeks old. I said, man, I got to start moving puppies. You know, I'm watching this litter move, girl. You know, I can't find a bad one in the litter. There's not a bad one in the litter. And usually you'll have a couple of coals, right? When you have a litter, you have a couple of them, a little nervy, and some got some bite issues, stuff like that. But this litter, man, like if I go from, if you told me, all right, what's your top picks, and your females, just say your females. I'll tell you, I can't tell. If I look at my males, so what's your top picks? I says, right now I can't tell. There's nobody that out. This litter is so tight, and I think that's coming from like Lee breeds his dogs really tight, right? And so I think a lot of that just that genetic tightness, or however he's done it, and I don't understand it 100%, but I think that's really made this click the way he breeds his dogs, because they have this bulldog sense about them, where they sense, not say sense, but they have this. You know, they express these game traits in their features and their bones, the way they work. And then they just have this mal drive and this prey drive pushing that with it. Yeah, so I have what I have left is 3 females and a male left on this litter left, but I'm holding 3 males right now, trying to figure out which one I want to keep. The one I have for sale, he's no less than the ones I'm looking at. I just had to start moving dogs before they get too much. I can't handle them all. That's 11 puppies. It's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. I think it's amazing you got so many choices, because if you only have 4, it'd be hard to, you don't got as much selection. It might be easier to choose because you only got 4, but the more you have.
Yeah. I like it's interesting. I had this one that I just put up for sale. I call him K2. He looks like Kobus, but he's got a bigger head, bigger bone. And he's already ahead. At 6 weeks, he's doing what Kobus was doing maybe at 9 or 10 weeks. And if anybody goes on Instagram,
do you think they're going to take, as far as their phenotype, you think they're going to take more after your Sentinel, or more after, or just a combination of both? What you think? Are their ears going to stick up naturally, or are they going to have to get them cropped?
I think we're going to, I think you're going to have to crop the ears much like they do the Donovan pinchers. And well, you crop them how you want to crop them, but I'll do a Donovan pincher type crop. You've seen the crops are similar, like maybe like Doberman crops, something like a higher crop on the herder. I don't think the ears are going to stand. I think they're taking more on the bulldog side. They express more like a bulldog. I have one, like I said, this guy, man, I mean, his bone structure is thicker than Nala's ever was. I've never seen it. I've had 7 Sentinels, and his bone structure is 7. Okay. Yeah, so I've had mine. I've brought down for guys that train with me in my club, my cousins, family, and stuff like that, and I work all their dogs. So we bring them down. His bone structure is bigger than all those band dogs we brought down. Bigger head, bigger forearms. I mean, he's a big boy. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops. But he bites like an alligator, man. But he's chill. When one thing about this litter I like over Malinois, when they're done working, they go back, they chill, they're done for a few hours, right, until they're ready to eat again. And so that interests me more than anything than having to deal with a Malinois that's sitting there at the gate. You know, I walk out in the morning time, I'm tiptoeing down the stairs. All of a sudden, he's like this. He's sitting that crazy, ready to go. DaBandog be able to sleep, and she's like, it's not even 8 o'clock. Why are you coming down and waking me up, right? She was dead asleep, but that's the difference in them. I'd rather be able to have 2 cups of coffee in the morning before I have to take dogs out, right? So, you know, it's just preference, man. It's just really preference. But
so who is your ideal clients that you will want to have your dogs with? Who's your ideal clients? Because you know everybody, like you said, can't handle certain dogs.
Yeah, I won't sell them to just a pet home. They have. It's a little bit harder than say a DaBandog. DaBandog's probably going to just by itself is going to be a little bit easier than my dogs. My dogs are probably a little bit more to handle. But you know, I have them going out to like high level trainers and stuff. Guys who are competing, PSA guys. You know, I have one guy that wants to go down to Charlie Randolph's and compete with those guys in hard hitting competitions. That's really why we wanted to bring him. One is because Kobus is 7. And I work the streets all the time, by the way, right? So my dogs load up weekly and go to the streets with me, and they work. So I always need a dog. And now he's getting 7. I need something that's going to take his place in a couple of years. So that's really why I did the breeding. I only do it for myself and for the guys in the club who need something hard. And they wanted to go down and compete with Misfit K9s and all those guys. And, you know, hey, if you're going to compete against monsters, you better bring a monster, right? So, and that was the thing. So we needed some hard dogs to be able to do that. And so far as clients go, yeah, you need to have some experience. You need to have some experience with some high drive dogs, or at least have a big open field, like a place. Like if you don't have as much experience, I'm like, if you have a farm or you live on land, if that dog starts to drive you crazy, you can let him out and go run, right? Not necessarily somebody lives in an apartment or house with a small yard where you have to walk in, because walks won't do it. They need to work. They need a job. So, you know, we got one going to military contractor, some going to like some sport guys, and some guys with experience and stuff like that. So, but that being said, you know, everybody has to get a start somewhere. So it just kind of depends on case by case. I mean, my first Malinois, I had to start somewhere, right? So these are going to be on your higher end, a little bit harder to handle. We just don't want people getting themselves in trouble. The dog, and he's real bitey as a puppy, and he's tearing their clothes. And they don't know how to handle that kind of situation. You know, they don't know how to redirect instead of correct. They need to redirect, and they don't know these simple things. So I would say guys and girls, you know, with some experience to handle these dogs. But that being said, I don't want to scare people into thinking these guys are just monsters, right? When I say that, when they're working, that's what they are. But when they're off, they can lay around. I got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. They can lay around. They snuggle with my kids, and they're cool. They're good with the family at the end of the day. And I don't have to worry about problems. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that. I don't have any kind of aggressive dog, right? It's a whole different thing. So yeah.
So Nala is she super civil aggressive? Like, is she kind of friendly, or?
No, she's real good. She's good. She's not good to say Kobus. Kobus is, like I say, you could snatch on him, pull on him and stuff like that. He's never growled at a kid ever in his life. She's real good too. She's real good too. She's not as she don't have as much pain tolerance as say he does, but she has out of drive pain tolerance. And I always say that's a difference when they're in drive versus out of drive. I want to see a dog can be really good in drive. I want to see how they are out of drive, right? You know, and out of drive, she's really good with the kids as well. And I see these puppies also being really good with people. You know, and it really comes down to how you socialize them, because I've had some people ask me about that and stuff, you know, how are they going to be if we're going to work them to certain, like hog dog guys. I have one that's going to a hog dog home. It's going to be working.
I was going to ask you that. You answered all my questions I had. So they go for okay.
Yeah, I expect these dogs, they'll be catching hogs, dispatching game. I think they could do work, you know, with coyotes and stuff like that. I mean, they're gonna have it to be able to do that. A ton of prey drive too. But guys like that were concerned about that. And I said, you know, if you don't want to be as say aggressive towards other people, I said just socialize them a lot really early, and they'll be fine. So
yeah. because all American Central, my American Central, he not friendly at all. He not
Yeah,
friendly.
mine's not either outside. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not friendly at all. I gotta change certain routines up. So the guesstimate weight you think is gonna be what? Females 80 to 100 and males 90 to 110, as far as adult size.
Yeah, could be. They could be. I mean, I think that's possible. I mean, like I said, all my males are big. They're 13 pounds at 6 weeks old, and the females are about they're 10, 11. I got one, a big female. She's like 12 pounds. Deep South. The guy who's Deep South Sentinels. He's got a bunch of Lee's dogs. He's getting one too. Yeah, he's come pick one up. Got one coming.
He's gonna get one. Okay, I gotta talk to him. I interviewed him twice. I gotta interview him again.
Right. So he's gonna pick one up in a couple weeks for him. JJ Seabreeze, Justin Rigney, some of those guys. Guys who want to use these. They'll use my dogs as demo dogs. They'll take them around when they do training classes and use these dogs. Jeff Minder from Top Tier K9's coming to get one. So a lot of top level. I don't know if you know these guys, but these guys that own their own schools and stuff, and top level guys. They'll use my dogs as demo guys.
You're gonna be like a specialty breeder, and as your popularity gets higher and your demand gets higher, are you gonna still? What you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't do this for the money. Like I said, I made all my money in real estate years ago, and now I just collect rent. Right. So I just have to I need that backup when I go down to Moncrief. Most of my property's down in Moncrief, Jacksonville. And, sometimes it'll get a little rough. So if I need a dog, I'll breed a dog, but I'm not doing a lot of litters because I'm not doing it for the money like maybe some people do. I just do it if I have some guys who want to club, friends and stuff like that. I just try to keep it really small. Small niche, because these are some serious dogs. They're on another level, and we like to keep real strong dogs like that. So maybe I might do that.
If your dogs start getting popping, and you develop like an underground following like Tesla or Elon Musk, where people will pay. I can see that happening, because if your dogs is really going to do that, like. From what I'm seeing, is you know what you're doing for sure. How did you learn how to train dogs? How did you do it?
So so I started training. I actually went with a trainer. I started training with a French Ring Club, and so I like training with sports guys as far as OB and obedience and stuff like that. And then I just kind of took it from there. I started, mostly with Jason Davis at KhanK9, and I was working Kobus, 2 or 3 times a week. I was two days privates, 1 day on the club. So he's 3 days a week. He was working, and we just absorbed and learning. I trained with Jeff Minder, KhanK9. I've trained with Justin Rigney. So I learned, power bite and stuff like that. So I've been to Mike Suttles up in West Virginia. So I used to travel and take my dogs with me. I had this big motorhome. We'd travel around, and we just stop at different clubs. And I just train with guys, and I'd learn, I'd pick up, and I'd pick their brains. And over the years and years, just training with these guys, I just learned little things, and I put things together. And that's really how I learned. That's really how I learned. I learned from the best. I went and traveled. I thought I see guys doing stuff, and I wanted to do it, so I go and learn from them, spend some time with them, and then bring that back home into our program.
So for the future, will you ever breed Kobus to another Belgian Malinois, or will you breed Nala to another Sentinel, or is it always going to be, how would you do that?
Yeah, so I have a lot of offers to breed Kobus. I've had offers over the years. Again, it was just, for me, it's not about the money. So, a stud fees, it's just, I don't know. It's me. It's about the genetic. It's all about the genetics. For me, it's 100% about genetics. I don't care about the money whatsoever, and that's why I don't really go and stud him. There's some males out there that people want to stud to, and I'm like, I don't really like the female, so I won't do it. I do have a nice female that my buddy Gavin has, and she's a really nice male, and he wants to breed into her. I'll do that.
Jacksonville, right?
I'll do that. What's that?
Gavin, that's down in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, he's down in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I was telling him in the interview. I said, I figured he would want one of your puppies. I figured. He's one that's. playing.
Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen his puppy. He brought it out when we were training. Me and Sleepy Pete. Right. Yeah. So yeah, Gavin's actually getting a puppy as well. He's getting a female.
He's gonna get one. I figured, yeah.
Right. And I got
dogs is ridiculous. Dogs are, for those who just watching, I got Adam Burke on here with Kobus KahnK9. We just getting started in this interview. He's answering all my. I have my questions, but he's actually answering them before I even have to ask it. So that's a great thing right here. We're gonna get into the ask him because a lot of people in the military, and he also does martial arts. But so you said you have you have 3 females and 2. What is it that you have left for the people that's interested?
3 females and 1 male.
1 boy. Okay, so 1 boy and 3 females. Okay, and the best way for them to reach. What's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, on Instagram, Kobus KahnK9 on Instagram. Check us out there. That give you a chance to see all the work we do. And I always say, you know, I wouldn't even ask the breeder. I would ask the people who's worked with the breeder, right? I would ask the people who's worked with the guy who has the dogs, who's worked the dogs. And there's guys like Andrew Alexander from Stone Grove Bulldogs. You know, there's JJ Seabreeze. There's Justin Rigney. There's Sleepy Gordon from Over the Top K9. I would pick those guys and ask them about my dogs, right? Like I always say, don't ask the actual guy, because I could just tell you my dogs are great. Everybody tell you great. But I always say, ask the decoys who's taking bites from my dogs and work my dogs and put them through it. Ask them what they think about the dogs, and then you'll get a better idea. And they've been working with a lot of the who's who of decoys. So I would say, you know, hook up with those guys, look up those guys, man, and ask them, hey, what's up with these puppies? What do you think? And I think you'll get your honest answer there. I think that's the best way to go about it. And then you'll see. Then I don't have to tell you. And then the puppies. I think the puppies will speak for themselves.
Yeah, that's what's up right there, man. So when you keep the tails natural and everything, right? Because you know Lee, he clips the tail, so you just keep the tails natural, and then the ears.
Yeah, I like a natural tail.
Like a natural tail, and then the ears. You say they might go and get the dot. I like that. I like that. Clipping of the Donovan pinches. I like that look.
Yeah, they're good looking dogs. I like that look as well. And that's the route we're going to go with ours.
Okay. And it's for the people that's wondering, and say if you have some clients overseas, are you willing to ship overseas, or how are you going to do that?
Nah, I mean, if they can arrange it, if they can arrange their own transport, yeah, I'll let them go. You know, it really. I'm probably not going to do the arrangement, but if they want to do the arrangement and stuff like that, I think that would be fine. But yeah, that would just kind of be a case by case on who's bringing the puppy over and stuff like that. Like I said, I try to put them in really good hands. I'm probably going to check you out, kind of see your background, see if you've been working dogs, if you know how to work dogs. I'll know a lot. If I see your Instagram account, I'm going to know if you just have pet dogs or you have some real working dogs. And so that'll tell me a lot. But it's not only fair to the puppy, it's fair to you too, because you know you don't want to get a dog you can't handle, and then you're calling me like, I can't handle this dog, man. This thing's crazy. I had some pit bulls, man. Them pit bulls, I said these on another level from straight pit bulls. And there's nothing more game than a game bred pit bull, but ain't nothing harder than a bull herder when you get the right mix, man. But once you get them, man, they're dynamite. I don't think there's anything better. And like I said, I've had game bred pit bulls and band dogs and all that stuff. And to me, this is the blend I personally like for protection work.
So you doing your thing, man. I can see you growing, man, because I can see you putting in the work. A lot of breeders ain't gonna necessarily put in the work that you do. They just go by the genetics and that's it. The mom and dad was this way, and they don't really work them. They selling them as working dogs, but they never really worked them. So I like that you doing that.
Yeah, it's a passion. I love doing it. So I'm kind of I'm a doer, right? Like I like doing things, and I like to see what's the possibility, right? Like Mike Tyson wouldn't be Mike Tyson if he didn't get in that ring and train at an early age, right? So it's like, yeah, does he have the genetic potential to do stuff? Yeah, he did. He's a genetic freak in the days. But man, he had that training, he had that foundation, right, at an early age, and look what he became. So I think about the same thing with pups. Like, you know, genetics will take them so far, and then you have to pick up with training and conditioning. You got to work that mind. You don't realize dog's mind has to be worked. And in my dog's mind, man, they're T100, man. They're Terminators. They cannot lose. I say at an early age, my dogs never lose. They always win, and they think they can never lose. So they're never afraid because they always win, right? It's like an amateur boxer, right? He never loses, right? They always set the matches where he always wins. That first loss, how tough that is, right? And that's how it is in MMA. You know, I remember I was fighting him. I had my first loss. Well, I was on top of the world till I had my first loss, and it was like I questioned the world, man. It was so different, right? So that's my puppies never lose. My dogs never lose. They always win, and in their mind, they can never lose. So when it comes down to real fighting, they're like, oh, I got this. So I think putting that extra time, the ENS, the early neurological stimulation, early syndication, I just feel it just gives them an extra boost. And, you know, it's kind of a favor that we do for the guys that buy our pups. You know, it's just putting a little extra time into it. We raise them in the house. We're not raising them in a kennel. So these pups are like, they're hearing the TV, they got the radio going, and there's sound of the mix and the blender and the kids running around the house. So that to them, if you see some of my videos, I go in with pots and pans and beat the hell out of pots and pans. They run to me. They don't run away from me. They run right up to me because they're just conditioned to be like, all right, stimulus. Let's move towards stimulus. And that's what I want a dog to do. If somebody hits, bam, they break into your door, right? They kick down your door. You don't want that dog to like fight or flight. When that fight or flight instinct takes in, that dog may flinch a little bit, but I want his first instinct to move towards whatever it is. You don't know what it is, but you need to move forward towards it. And that's kind of where I look at starting them off at an early age. Just building that early.
Now, how did your military background and your martial arts background help you with dogs? Like how do you think it shaped you as a dog guy?
So there are a lot of good decoys out there, right? But there's a lot of decoys who don't have real world experience at anything. They kind of mimic and mock what they see other people doing, right? You can tell the guys are kind of just doing what the other guy just did, right? And just trying to do it a little bit flashier for Instagram or whatever. When you have real world experience, right? So I was 9 years in the Army, and 6 months of that time I was with 5th Group Special Forces running a mission in Iraq.
Purple Heart.
You know, what's that?
Don't forget the Purple Heart.
So I was awarded the Purple Heart. I got injured. You know the Purple Heart. You know what the Purple Heart is? You should have dodged when you dodged when you should have weaved. That's the marksmanship for the enemy, right? That's Taliban's marksmanship, right?
Oh, that's
you dodge when
I just seen that. I'm not sure. I appreciate you telling me. Yeah.
That's a joke Army guys tell when they say, "Oh, you got Purple Heart? Yeah, you get your head down fast enough." That's a joke we tell. But no, we. So we had over 300 missions and doing close quarters combat. I was in the Sunni Triangle and Tikrit and Balad in that area and stuff like that, right? So spent some time over there, year and a half, got injured, came back, spent some time in the hospital, recovered pretty strong. You know, I still got, you know, you can see right here, I still got some shrapnel. I don't know if you can see that. So I still carry some of this in my head, right? So it's just a daily reminder, man, to just get after it every day. But going back to your question, is real life, right? You know, when you look a man in the eyes, right, and you know it's him or you, and you've done this a lot of times, right? And you know, this, in the martial arts, right, you know what a man is capable of, man. I don't think a lot of people realize what a big, strong man is capable of. A lot of people they have this idea that their little small dog that takes a bite on the sleeve that will protect them. And I'm telling you, on the real world side of things, these dogs will fold. They will fold every single time. I mean, you need a warrior, man, when you really go to battle. And so I take this serious. So when I'm thinking about combat situations and if things, you know, civil unrest and stuff like that, I've experienced it in combat. And I know what it takes in a dog just working alongside. I personally wasn't a canine handler in the Army, but I worked alongside him. And I saw what happened, what a dog looked like when a grenade or a bomb would go off and how they would react, or the stress they had to go under when it was 130, 40 degrees, not working and stuff, and how these dogs had to handle the heat and the stress of everything. As far as martial arts, it was kind of the same thing. It's like, right, so a lot of people don't know how to fight, right? Street fight's one thing, but you know, I used to coach, like I used to have these little junior world champions, right? And I'd have these street guys come in, they just talk trash, right? Ready to go. And I said, all right, I got this 14-year-old kid. And I bring this 14-year-old kid, he tuned this grown man up. I said, yeah, you tough, but you just don't really know how to fight. And people really know how to box, really know how to fight. They know what I'm talking about, right? So I think when you know that you're going against an opponent, you realize how strong men actually are. I've been a guy. I trained with Brian the Beast Baker. I'll tell you this. I trained with Brian the Beast Baker, right? He's out of Team Wildman in California, right? This is back in 2009, right? So we were getting him ready, and he was stronger than me. He was stronger than me. And this is what levels of this is when you think about levels of men, right? Most people don't know this. Now I'm 46 years old. This is, you know, years ago. So there are levels of men, right? So he was stronger than me, and I was a beast. I was probably second strongest in the club at the time, but he was a beast. We call him beast for a reason. So this guy, we got him ready for a fight against Chael Sonnen. You know Chael Sonnen? UFC Chael?
Yeah.
So Brian's fight, I got Brian ready for Chael Sonnen's fight. Chael Sonnen smoked Brian so bad, I kept him on the ground, smashed him, beat him up bad. It made me realize that day that there's levels to men, right? There are levels to men. Like, could I imagine fighting a Chael Sonnen? No, it's just not going to happen. As tough as I feel like I am in the civilian world, it's not going to happen. Now, imagine me being on the street and I meet somebody that's like Chael Sonnen, right? Or somebody, you know, equivalent to that, right? You look at your little dog, you better have a real dog with you. So I think that you have a better understanding when you've been in the streets and you're working the streets and you've been in combat. I think you just feel you have a better understanding of what you need in a dog and what you don't need. There's sport things in these sport worlds that are just these attention heels. My dogs will do attention heel, but on the streets, working the streets, they never do that. That stuff, it just never gets used. It's cool, but it never gets used. And that's just I just try to keep it real, right? And I think that's where it kind of gives me an advantage, just an understanding of the capabilities of another man, strong people and stuff out there. What would need to be, what the need would be to be able to, you know, to submit somebody like that, you know. So that's kind of where my stance is on all that. So
what's the main difference between jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai? Because I hear about it in MMA. Like, what's the main difference? And you are purple belt in jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah, so jiu-jitsu is Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's basically grappling, submission, grappling.
Okay.
And I had some wrestling background as well. So it's takedowns. It's groundwork. It's you know, you're submitting, you're pinning. There's different things like that. Muay Thai is all stand up. It's we call it the science of 8 limbs, right? So I'm a Muay Thai crew. So Muay Thai crew is basically like equivalent of a black belt, but in Muay Thai, true Muay Thai, we just call it crew, means trainer. But yeah, that's elbows, knees, punching, kicking, things like that. That's a stand-up game. But you know, in MMA, you need to know it all, right? You need to know your ground game. You need to have stand-up game. You need to have some boxing. You know, whatever works for you. But that's what I've been in for years. And then as I got older, I started coaching younger fighters and stuff coming up.
Oh, okay. So you got the real estate business. You do coaching. You got the I had it right here. The what is it? It's the green. What's it called that you do with the you sent it to me. It's called the, hold on one second. It's called the because it's people that probably want to donate or something. It's called the
oh, the nonprofit work I did.
Yeah, the nonprofit work. Yeah.
Yeah, so I retired from that. I used to do some nonprofit work. So being a veteran, military veteran myself, I used to have a farm called Veterans Farm, and I used to provide horticulture therapy for disabled veterans, and we'd raise money for like vehicles and helping with properties and getting the farm and agribusiness. And so we did that for years. But I retired out of that back when I got into it. So I've been out of that since 2016. So yeah, that was just kind of part of my service, just kind of giving back, helping some guys out, stuff like that. Because I did well for myself, did real well for myself, and I was able to retire in my 30s. And it was just my way of giving back, man, just helping others, man. It's just, you know,
that's amazing.
I'm a Christian. Yeah, I'm a Christian by faith. I believe in giving back. So
That's amazing. A lot of people don't do that. So did you ever
Yeah.
consider like writing a book or anything?
I haven't. So I've had in the past, I've had a ghostwriter that's written for me in like Guidepost magazine. We were in a couple of different, if you look up my name and like Growing a Greener World, different news articles and stuff like that. Yeah, we did some things. A book, man, sitting down, unless it was a ghostwriter who's going to do most of the work. Yeah, the time to sit down and do that. Yeah, that would be with a 5-year-old, 7-year-old, and 11 puppies, and running this company. Yeah, it would be. I don't know where I'd find the time, but maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Yeah, if you got a ghostwriter, hey, you got a ghostwriter, and then they got AI now too, Adam. They got AI, so AI in the ghostwriter.
Hey, I got to catch up with the times, man. I've seen it. I've seen it work. I hadn't even clicked on it, even look at it yet, but I know. I see what they're doing with it. Yeah, I know.
AI. I don't trust all that AI. I'm not gonna lie. That AI is something else.
Yeah, this might not really even be me, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Now, for people that gets one of your dogs,
yes.
What are some recommendations for them to allow one of your puppies to reach his full potential? Because everybody is not you, and I'm a big believer in epigenetics as far as how you raise them. That makes a big difference in addition to the genetics. So what recommendations do you have for people that may get one of your dogs, or just people in general that has working dogs?
So I would say the first thing is patience and consistency. I like operant conditioning. I do operant conditioning with all my dogs. I'm not a yank and crank guy. There's some yank and crank guys out there that started.
I know what it is, but explain operant conditioning to people that don't really understand that.
Operant conditioning? Yeah, so operant conditioning is basically, it really comes down to timing of reward, right? Like if you see your dog do something that you like, reward it. You have like 1.8 seconds to reward a dog if he does something right? So you need to have your kibble on you and be ready to reward him. So if a dog does something that you like and you take too long to get to the kibble, and now he's looking up at a fan, and then you give him a kibble, he's like, dang, every time I look up at this fan, I get a kibble. That's the reward, right? So there's really time and a consistency with operant conditioning. But every time your dog does something, if you reward it that you like, if you immediately, you have a very short window, because they're the way they think, they just forget about what they're doing and they move on to the next thing. So operant conditioning is just consistently rewarding them for things that they're doing and they're kind of natural exposed. Like, so if my dog makes eye contact with me, I'm like, yes, and I reward them, right?
That's your marker word, yes? You don't use a clicker? Yes,
I don't use a clicker.
Okay, yeah.
Nah, I don't use
a clicker neither.
Yeah.
I don't
I like it,
but because it's a consistent sound, but it's too much stuff in your hands when you're trying to lure and different things like that. So
yeah. I mark it with a yes. I've always marked with just a yes, and I don't need clickers and stuff like that. And I've always had good results with my dogs, but it's just a simple yes. And I mark it with that. But eye contact, I'm big on eye contact. I start that off. I don't bowl feed my puppies until they're maybe 10 months old. So it's all hand fed up to 10 months old.
Hand feed
build a real strong
up into 10.
Hand feed them to 10.
Guys, make sure y'all listen to him. You know what he's talking about. Hand feed up to like 10 months. Okay.
Yep, that helps. You don't get that aggression, bowl aggression, full aggression, possession, stuff like that. The dogs, you just build a bond. I mean, they know their only meal is going to come from you. You are their sole provider, right? There's nobody else who's going to come in and just take over. That's one of the things I do. When I say like some of the older style of training where they get a prong collar and they're making a 16-week-old puppy and forcing him, hitting him with the prong collar, I'm not with that. I don't like that. The Malinois is interesting because they'll figure out a way to eventually when they have the confidence to do something. So for me, it's about building confidence, right? So operant conditioning. Now I do use a prong collar. Don't get me wrong. When they get a little older, I'll reverse it where it's a flat side. When they're maybe 5-6 months old, maybe I'll start to kind of use it, just a little pop stuff like that, because you have to eventually, because these are going to be hard dogs. But at first, there's no need in a puppy. You can guide them, mold, do your molding and sitting and things like that. But it's just, I'll go out for a couple of minutes, 5 or 6 times a day, get a painter's bench, sit them on there, and just do a little bit, put them up, play. you know,
So you
just
say short training sessions, like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, maybe not even, right. And that's how they get fed. They have to work for their food. So if you see some of the videos, like when I call them for food, they got to go over a threshold or something. Like from day one, these puppies are used to working for their food. There's no easy hand. There's no free food. I mean, they're always working for their food one way or another. If they have to cross a threshold or they got to go find it or something like that. But yeah, it's really about taking your time with them, allowing them just to be a puppy and to grow. Because my dogs, you don't have to do drive building. A lot of dogs, you got to tie back, do the rag work, drive, try to build that drive. My dogs, you don't do that. You don't have to do that with them. That drive's it comes in a box. I have it gift wrapped it for you. It's coming. All you got to do is just let the puppy develop, grow, do the obedience with them, do bite work maybe once, twice a week. Be careful. Don't do bite work when they're teething. That's what I have a guy that made a mistake, and he's like, and he got a DaBandog from Lee, and now the puppy's kind of a little iffy about whether he wants to bite or not. I'm thinking, yeah, you hurt him while he was, you were snagging on him, pulling on.
What age do you recommend to start the bite work? What age? What age do you recommend for that?
Yeah. So my puppies already started bite work. They're already biting now, and they'll go up till they start teething, and then we won't do any bite work whatsoever till they're done teething. So you may go a little while where you don't bite, but that's okay, because as soon as they're full grown teeth in, they pick right back up. There's no need to push them and force them and stuff like that. It's coming. If the genetics are there, it's coming. They've already had the foundation. And that's the great thing about it, because I used to have dogs where I'd have to put them on the flirt pole and back tie them and spend all this time drive building. I'm wasting hours out of the day trying to ask them to bite or beg them to bite or bite a little better. I don't want to do that with a dog. That's too much work. I want to, maybe I just don't have the time. Maybe I get lazy about it. I don't know. I want a dog. I want to drive cap, if that makes sense. I want to be able to, their drive's going to come out at a certain point. I want to start capping that drive. That's the kind of dog I want. It's a lot easier to drive cap for me personally than, say, having to build drive. So yeah, it's really about just taking your time, loving your puppy, just building a relationship with them. Because if you're an asshole, man, and you're treating the dog bad, and then somebody breaks in, man, and you expect that. And this is a lesson I teach my kids, right? I teach them, it's like, look, this dog is here to protect you. I said, if you're mean to the dog, why would he want to protect you if somebody broke in? Like you need to be good to this dog, take care of these dogs, right? You gotta love them, man. Just love them. Just let them have a happy life. The genetics and the training, find somebody who knows how to train these dogs, because some are going to express some different traits. Some will express a little bit more bulldog traits. Some maybe a little bit more Mal traits. So it's different. The way you work a bulldog and a Mal is going to be a little bit different. You might want to put a little bit more pressure, defensive pressure on a bulldog versus, say, a Malinois just needs to be prey work. But I think these puppies have plenty of prey. You can work these puppies prey all the way up until they're a year and a half old. Like Nala stayed in prey till she was a year and a half old. And then I touched on the little defense just enough to make her a little hotter. That's all I needed, and she turned on. Same thing with Kobus. He's an all prey dog with a civil edge. Same thing, all prey. Just tweaked it when he was a grown dog. Just lit him up a little bit, and that's all I needed to do. Just turned him on just a little bit. Not so much. A lot of people, I see these guys getting these pit bulls and young dogs, and they're trying to make them mean, right? You ever see those guys that sit there like they get this puppy and they're trying to make him, he's going growling, they're trying to make him mean. Yeah, man. That's nonsense. You don't need a mean dog, right? These aren't junkyard dogs. You don't need a mean dog. You just need to do what he needs to do. They don't have to be mean. Like Kobus, he don't have to hate you to bite you. You could be a woman doing nothing, and if I tell him to bite you or whoever, and he'll bite you. I tell him because I told him to, and just because he wants something to bite, it's all business for him. It's all business. It ain't nothing personal to him. He's just going to bite you, and that's why I like my dogs to be. I like them to be about business. I like them to be professional dogs, right? And then know when it's not a threat. I don't want a dog to perceive everything as a threat, because those dogs are dangerous, right? Yeah, that's my stance on it right there. Sure.
Yeah, that's some great advice. You gotta have patience, take your time, use that ocular conditioning. You can use a clicker if you like it. Some people master that clicker. I've been seeing these guys in the UK, they do double taps too. Bye bye. Me, I like to just use my voice.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and it's just, I think it's what fits you. Like I think a dog should fit in your life. Now, you shouldn't fit the dog's life, but the dog should fit in your lifestyle, right? Like if you enjoy using a clicker, use a clicker. If you like marking with a word or something, or that's the thing about training. You'll see like everybody's using the same words. I may mix my words up. I may be a foos on the left side and an OP on the right. I might use German and then French or something like that, and then English. It's just whatever fits. It's just as long as you do it the same consistency over and over. It doesn't matter what you say to the dog. He knows it. But that dog, I don't know if you saw some of the video, like I don't even have to say anything anymore. I can just do a little body movement, and he knows right where to go, just a little slight body movement. Or if I look him straight in the eye, he knows it's take eye contact. So if I start spinning around or spinning to the left or spinning right, he keeps his body straight in front of me without me saying a word, just to keep his straight eye contact. So there's so much you can do with these dogs that are just absolutely amazing.
So I forgot to ask you, do you feed your dogs a special diet, or do you just have to give them on kid? What do you feed your dogs?
All right, so I used to do raw food, right? And I did it for a while, and it was good, man. There's people who like it, and I can see the argument for it. I don't have a problem with it, but I eventually went back to kibble, and my dogs perform the same way whether they're raw or kibble. They perform exactly the same. I mean, the feces and stuff like that, it's a little bit more to pick up, but the performance, they perform all the same. Genetics is genetics, man. They just, as long as it has the nutrition. Like I go to Tractor Supply and get 4Health, right? The Tractor Supply version. I was doing like Taste the Wild and all that stuff, and then I went to 4Health, and my dogs, their coats are slick, they look good, their muscles are good, they're healthy. A 7-year-old Malinois runs around like a 1-2-year-old Malinois. So for me, as far as diet, that's just what fits in my lifestyle. People like feed raw. I'm all for it.
Got you. So you got the kid. Which version did you say you use from Tractor Supply?
4Health.
Oh, okay. 4Health. Yeah. 4Health.
The same stuff, same ingredients as Taste the Wild, just half the price.
Yeah. That's amazing right there. So as we almost at an hour right now, I can talk this stuff all day, and I've been learning so much for you. And once again, I superly appreciate you. You in Jacksonville, right? Are you part of like a club for people that's interested in like learning from you, or how? What is it that you do in there? What's your club like? How does that work?
Yeah, so I actually travel to different clubs. I work with Over the Top K9, Sleepy Gordon. We call him Sleepy Gordon. You'll see him in the videos and stuff like that. Me and him do a lot of work together. I'll go to the clubs from time to time. I'll do my own thing on the streets. I'm that guy that travels from club to club. I'm not a guy that shows up at the same club all the time. Just not my thing. Okay. I usually call the decoys. I'll say, come to my house. We'll meet at random places. I've never been one to like to train at the same field over and over. Man, that to me just doesn't benefit a dog. I think you need to go at a gas station, go to bed, go somewhere else. Always find somewhere else. I think you need to do home invasion work. Everybody that y'all missing out home invasion work, you're just working at the clubs. Let me tell you something. Get in there and see what your dog's made. Don't be afraid to see if that dog fold, man, because you need to know now before it really happens. Do that the carjacking work, things like that really matter, man. Just because it's fighting the sleeve don't mean it's gonna protect you. And take it from me, man. I like I said, I work the streets every week. These dogs have had a lot. My boy Kobus had 2 live bites on the streets. And listen, man, hey, getting people out of vacant property sometimes is a dirty business, because sometimes cops ain't there to help you out, and you got to do it, and they just tearing your property up, and you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So you better know. You better know. So.
So you bring Kobus. Nobody's going to get bit. Psychologically, nobody want to get bit by a dog.
Like I was telling you, man, just in 2023, man, pimps bringing in the prostitutes in the vacant houses. I'm boarding them up. They break them out. Crackhead follow right in behind them, man. There's always something. And the prostitutes are the worst, man, because they'll stick you, man. They'll pull a knife on you quick and stick you when you ain't looking. They're dangerous, man. They're the dangerous ones, right? And so that's another thing, right? My dogs better want to bite a woman too, because her ass need to get bit too. You know, it comes down to it. You got to watch them. They're dangerous too. But man, no, I done had meth heads, crackheads. I've had them come at me, and you just there just by yourself. You may go in there and it's just you have a gun and just your dog, and there may be 2 or 3 people, and that's you know, that could be a scary situation. I don't care if you've been through combat or not. If you by yourself, you got 2 or 3 people running crazy and dogs going to bite. You trying to pull your dog off, and there's other people circling around you. You got a gun. Like, it can get pretty hysterical at times, right? So yeah, I carry him with me all the time. I'll set him at the front door if I got to go in do some painting or something like that. I don't want people, because they don't ever run in one. When they come to me, they come in 2 and 3s. There's always 2 or 3 of them, right? And so it's nice to have somebody that does 99% of the job, is which keeps them out of the house. Now they know me. Now they know me and know my dogs, and most of them don't even fool with me anymore. But you don't know from time to time, man. You just get some bad dudes. I don't know. I got to come home at the end of the day with my family, right? So, you know, that's all they ask. I come home with them, you know, be home with family. So that's the most important thing. So
are you gonna start rolling with one of Kobus's sons or daughters, or you just
yeah? So he'll have to prove him like everybody else. He ain't gonna just get a free ride. He's gonna have to go through everybody else. We're gonna work him. We're gonna see, because you know, my life depends on it, right? Yeah, so he's going to have to go through the same colon process, and I hope I picked the right one. I got 4 bad dudes, and they all look really good.
You got 4 choices?
I got 4 choices, and they all look neck and neck, and I'm trying to put them in precarious situations now to see if I see any difference. But right now, they all bite the same. I can pick them up by their neck. The pain tolerance is the same. Man, I can't see a difference in them hardly, but I know I have to start moving dogs. And that big red male, he's no less of a dog. It just happens to be it was straws. I was picking straws and said, "All right, you got to short in the straw. I'm going to have to start selling." And then I'm just going to pick from 3 because they're all the same. And I'll keep those 3 to about maybe 10 weeks old, 11 weeks old, so I can get a better view. And then maybe I can get my pick then. And then
and it's amazing too, because even the ones that you don't choose can still, for another person, because everybody's lifestyle is different, can be like A+ super dog. It
could be better than the pick I make. I may make the wrong pick. I could very well make the wrong pick. I could make the pick and then look Sleepy G's getting one, like Sleepy Gordon's getting one. His dog I may give him the best pick. That's how tight they are. I don't know, and that's a hard part of when you're trying to make your pick at a group that is this tight, that you very well could be, you know, 6 months down the road, 7 months down the road, I'm kicking myself thinking maybe that was a better dog. But I think they're all so strong. All of them are going to be good dogs. We're just talking about small little nuance, but they're all going to be you show up with one of these dogs, you train them right, they're all going to be showstoppers, man. And I tell you that, and it ain't just me saying it. You need these guys that are watching these puppies come up and have worked my dogs before. Kobus is always the best dog at the club, by far. There's no dog that compares with it. Bulldogs, band dogs, it don't matter. He will go through anything faster, harder, more crazier. He's knocked out his teeth. He don't have no teeth. He's got his canines, but he missed his teeth. He hit cement, bam, busted all his teeth, knocked them all up in his nasal cavity, right? I didn't even know it happened. He didn't flinch or anything. The next day, I'm playing. He didn't bleed either, by the way. It looked like hamburger meat. I'm playing tug with this dog, right? And all of a sudden, I see shards of teeth coming off. I'm like, what the hell? I looked down. I was like, oh my God, it was nasty. I took him to the vet. 4 hours, 2 vets pulling out shards out of his nasal cavity. Dog never flinched. That's a hard dog, man. That's a hard dog. And that's the kind of dog that I'm talking about. And these puppies, I foresee him putting that into these puppies. So, you know, that's important to me.
An amazing thing, in addition to all that one, because some people, when you're trying to create a pack of dogs and you got a dog that's dog aggressive, I'm talking about super dog aggressive, you got to change your whole routine up in your household. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not the same. So for people that don't know, like if you got a severe dog aggressive dog, you're going to have to, some won't even like another female. You know, it might be, you might have a boy, you might even like another female. So that's the problem if you get it, dog. But they might be so amazing, but she like, I want another dog. But in your situation, it seemed like they're going to be able to get along and be in the pack. So that's an extra bonus for people that's looking for dogs.
Yeah, if you want to, it's tough, right? Because we know like A lot of people feel like game breds are kind of the pinnacle of performance, right? Game bred pit bulls are kind of the pinnacle performance. But you have that baggage that comes with them, right? They're this unknown that they're going to bust out the fence, go tear somebody else's little Shih Tzu up, or things happen. Not all of them, but there's still in my mind. There's always, when I have one, that's always my mind. Now, they have this incredible pain tolerance because they have this gameness about them, right? The ones that do man work. But what if you can have a bigger dog that's not 50, 60 pounds, but he's 100 pounds? He has the same pain tolerance as that game bred dog. And he doesn't have dog aggression, and he listens really well. He comes when he's called. He'll turn on a dime when you call him. He knows there's no way he can kind of sit down. You start calling him, he don't want to do it. He's going to lay down on you, right? Some band dogs do that. They don't want to do something. I'm just going to lay down on you, right? I'm like, get your ass up, right? Malawat ain't going to do that. He knows when you call him, he's got to come. There ain't no two ways about it. He ain't going to lay down and not do it. He's going to come. That's the way they think. It's just they're programmed that way. And so to be able to put that mental mind into a bulldog body, and man, I don't know, man. We're going to find out. I'm telling you, we're going to find out. If somebody else will have one, I'm going to find out for sure. I know several trainers going to find out real quick.
I'm excited. As we come to an end, I have a question. How do you pick out names? Is coming up with names for your dogs? How do you do that? How do you come up with names for your dog?
All right, so some of my favorite movies are like Braveheart, the 300 with the Spartans and stuff like that, right? Greek mythology. I like history. It really comes down to kind of warrior names for you, man. I like battle hardened names. If I can find something I haven't heard, I kind of come up with stuff like that. I just, my grandfather was a Korean vet. My father was 5th Group Special Forces. I don't know. That's just kind of where I was raised. I like that. I like the feel of a good, strong dog. Now, I don't kind of go with names like Sniper or anything like these army names, but I kind of like find these old warrior names and stuff in dogs. And I don't know. I'll be curious to see what me and the wife argues over about the name of the next puppy. So I don't know. Hell, I might keep a female too, man. I got some females in this. These females, man, are so good. I wasn't planning on keeping a female. Dadgum, they're so good, man. I'm having a hard time letting them go.
You're gonna have to keep at least one for the breeding, for the future breeding.
Man. Hey, I got a few of them going out. Like Gavin's got one. My cousin's getting one. So I'm gonna have females to breed. They're keeping them close by, so they're gonna be our breeding pairs. But they're so good, man. I hate to let this one go. I got this purple girl. Y'all go look on Instagram, look at this purple girl, look how she's working at 5 weeks old, dude. You don't see 10-week, 11-week, 12-week-old puppies biting like her. I can't even get in the pen. That little bee, man, she jump up and grab off your tricep and be hanging on. You trying to clean up, and everybody's looking like she's on your tricep. Like she's sweet girl, but she just got something about her, man. So I don't know. I might have to keep her too, but I will see. We'll see how it goes. My wife think I'm crazy.
That's amazing, man. Before we go, I got one last question for you, man. I don't want to hold you up too long, man. In the future, we're gonna have to, as they get older, we're gonna have to, like maybe a couple months, 6 months old, we're gonna have to do a part 2, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
If you could have any superpower, whether you could see through walls, or you had Hawk-type vision, or you had the scent of a bear, or any type of superpower, what superpower would you want to have and why?
Oh, that's easy. I'd like to be able to fly. Flying. That's it, man. Just jump up, go, fly, go wherever I want to go. I ain't got to go through nothing because I can fly over it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one.
That's just me, man. I like to fly.
It's probably addicting if you can fly. That's like rolling a motorcycle boat to the 50 years old.
I ain't got to deal with traffic.
You won't want to be here. You won't want to walk no more. You done, bro. You addicted.
Man, I tell you, that's the way to be.
But I appreciate you, man, for giving up the time. Anything else you want to say to the people, and anything, any services, anything you want to plug, anything that you want to tell the people in the world, any advice, any recommendations? It's 2024.
Yeah, man. No, I just get after it, right? You love, just do what you love doing. I just do this because I love doing it. That's the biggest thing is I love doing what I do. Shoot, I bust my butt, I get it done, man, and just I don't make excuses about nothing. Just get it done, man. You got to get a workout in, go get your workout in, knock it out, find some time with it. You know, it's just do you live your life.
Yeah, I might have to take that trip too. Jacksonville is how far from Atlanta? 5 hours? 6 hours?
About 5.5.
I might have to take that trip, man. To just work Jaguar and see what he about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I say depending on which side of Atlanta you on with that traffic. I know that traffic is crazy out there.
You know how it is.
Yeah. Welcome anytime.
I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna post it on once I do it and it ends, and I put it on YouTube, and then I send you a link, and then you can share it because this was I'm sure people gonna learn a lot from you.
For sure. Sounds good, man. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, anytime.
Yeah, man. All right, brother. Appreciate it, man. Okay. All right.